بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليكم my beloved ones. Sorry about that duplicate. Let's see where we are now. Okay. So رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Inshallah, we're going to continue the discussion about the MEQAAT. We said that the MEQAAT is a place designated by the Prophet ﷺ for everyone willing or intending to enter Makkah, be it for Hajj, be it for Umrah, even for business, must enter the state of Ihram. So if he's coming for business, he must enter the state of Ihram, perform the Umrah, and then relieve him, like perform the tawaf and sa'i and all those tawaf and nisa, whatever is required in his Umrah, as we mentioned previously, and then he can do his business. But he cannot come, I'm just here for a business trip. And we said it's valid for 1 month, one lunar calendar month, whatever, like Rajab. If he comes in the beginning of Rajab, he has the whole month of Rajab. He can leave Makkah, come back, leave Makkah without ihram. If he's in the middle of the month of Rajab, he has 2 weeks. If he's in the last week of the month of Rajab, if he's in the last day of the month of Rajab, he has only 1 day left. So he leaves Makkah next day. When he comes back in Sha'ban, he has to enter the state of ihram and perform the Umrah, entering the Makkah, after entering Makkah. So here, مواقيت الإحرام. هناك أماكن خصصتها الشريعة الإسلامية المطهرة للإحرام منها. There are places that has been specified by the Islamic legislative system, quote, and like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, obviously by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, الشريعة الإسلامية المطهرة, pure Islamic legislative system, للإحرام منها, to enter the state of ihram from there. ويجب أن يكون الإحرام من تلك الأماكن, and it's obligatory that the ihram should be from those places. ويسمى كل منها ميقاتا وهي 9. And every single one of those places is called MEQAAT. And these are 9. Number 1, ذو الحليفة, وتقع بالقرب من المدينة المنورة, and it is located beside Medina al-Munawwara, adjacent to Medina al-Munawwara. وهي ميقات أهل المدينة. So people of Medina, when they want to perform Umrah, they will have to enter the state of Ihram from Dhul Halifa. So this is miqat of people of Medina. Only people of Medina? No. وَكُلُّ مَنْ أَرَادَ الْحَجَّ مِنْ طَرِيقِ الْمَدِينَةِ, and everyone who wants to perform the Hajj coming through the route of Medina. So anyone coming to Makkah from the coming through the route of Medina, that means Medina will be in their way, then they will have to enter the state of Ihram from Dhul Halifa. Okay. والأحوط وجوبا الإحرام من مسجدها المعروف بمسجد الشجرة. So Dhul Halifa is a small village, or very small, narrow, and there's this masjid which is called Masjid al-Shajara, the tree mosque. So now that some scholars, they say Dhul Halifa is sufficient, the village. Some scholars, they say no, the masjid itself. Some scholars, they say the old masjid, because now the masjid has been expanded. So what does Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah choose? That is because the narrations, some narrations they mention Dhul Halifa, some narrations they mention Masjid al-Shajara, the masjid itself. So Sayyidi Sistani says, on the basis of obligatory precaution, one should enter the state of ihram from the masjid itself, not the entire area of Dhul Halifa. From the masjid itself, known as Masjid al-Shajara, known as the masjid, the tree of the mosque. I mean the mosque of the tree, sorry. وعدم كفاية الإحرام من خارج المسجد. And it is not sufficient to enter the state of ihram from out of the masjid. Except for who? Those who are not able to enter masjid. Such as لغير الحائض ومن بحكمها. Other than the one who is in a monthly period, a woman, she's in the period, she cannot go inside the mosque. Okay? She has her excuse. So where will she enter the state of ihram from? From outside of the masjid. And those who have the similar conditions like ha'id, that means those who are in the state of impurity and they cannot enter the masjid. So if they want to do the ihram and talbiyah, they will be doing it from out of the masjid, however as close as possible to the masjid. So وَإِنْ كَانَ مُحَاذِيًا لَهُ, even if the masjid was in a parallel point. The problem is parallel point how? If it's the parallel point is in the right of masjid or left of masjid, then there's a problem because it's not in the masjid. If it is before the masjid, then he's going to pass by the masjid. So he has to enter the state of ihram in the masjid. If it is after the masjid, he has passed the station of ihram. So he should go back before. So you see, like if we have like this, this is Masjid al-Shajara. Okay. So this is the side of Masjid al-Shajara, not the Masjid al-Shajara. Another probability of parallel point is before the Makkah is down. Okay. This is Medina. Makkah is south of Makkah. So we are going there. So if somebody enters the state of ihram before Masjid al-Shajara, so he's going to go through Masjid al-Shajara. So he cannot enter the state of ihram before, because he is going to pass Masjid al-Shajara. So he has to enter the state of ihram in Masjid al-Shajara. What about after, in a parallel point here? So here we said no. Before. After, no. Why? Because you have passed the Masjid al-Shajara. And whenever you are passing by the MEQAAT, you should not pass the MEQAAT without entering the state of ihram. So that is the problem. So in all the cases, the ihram should be from in Masjid al-Shajara and basis on the obligatory precaution. But if some marja allows you to enter the state of ihram from out, you will have that option. Except for the one who has monthly period or someone who cannot enter the masjid, then they can enter the state of ihram from around Masjid al-Shajara, obviously adjacent adjacent to Masjid al-Shajara. Now, as we saw in the map, there's Medina, Masjid al-Shajara, and then there's Juhfa. So Medina, Juhfa. So can I delay my ihram to Juhfa? Medina is 400 kilometers. Juhfa is about 200 kilometers. So why I'm going to enter the state of ihram, I'm going to be annoyed all the way 4 hours. Let's say if the drive was 4 hours, if not, like in Hajj season, it could be 8 hours, 10 hours. So why shouldn't I enter the state of ihram from Juhfa to reduce those 2 hours? You can't. If your MEQAAT is here, you cannot go into the second MEQAAT. Since your MEQAAT is Dhul Halifa, Masjid al-Shajara, you cannot go to the next MEQAAT. So that's why he says, لا يجوز تأخير الإحرام من ذي الحليفة إلى الجحفة. It is not permissible to delay entering the state of ihram from Dhul Halifa to Juhfa. Juhfa is a MEQAAT إلا لضرورة من مرض أو ضعف أو غيرهما من الأعذار. Unless if there was an excuse or necessity such as sickness or weakness or any other excuse such as these two, other than these two excuses. Which are these two excuses? The sickness and the weakness. Okay. So this is this is Dhul Halifa, Masjid al-Shadr. Next miqat is Wadi al-Aqiq. Aqiq in Arabic language means the valley where the water flows through it abundantly. And there are other meanings as well. Wadi al-Aqiq. So valley of Aqiq. I know this ring you call Aqiq, okay? But this valley of Aqiq doesn't mean that there's plenty of Aqiq there. No. Valley of Aqiq means that the valley, the water flows abundantly. Maybe now it's drought or something, but it's sometime there will be plenty of water flowing through that valley. So remember we said Medina, Juhfa, Yalamlam, Qarn al-Manazil, Taif, and that Irq. Okay, so that people of Iraq. So Wadi al-Aqiq, وهو ميقات أهل العراق, ميقات of people of Iraq, وَنَجْد, people of Najd, like people Riyadh and all these places where they are a bit east of Saudi Arabia. وَكُلُّ مَنْ مَرَّ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ غَيْرِهِمْ, and anyone who comes through that path, so it is miqat for them as well. وَهَذَا الْمِيقَاتِ لَهُ أَجْزَاء ثَلَاثًا. This miqat has three phases. It's divided into three segments. So the valley of Aqiq is divided into three segments. The beginning, when they are coming, and then the middle, and then the point of exit. So entrance, middle, exit, when they exit the valley. What are these three segments of the valleys? وَهُوَ اسم لأوله. Yeah, the writing has got messed up, the font. So Al-Ghamra, and then Dhatu Irq, and Al-Maslakh. Let me see. Yeah, so the writing has been messed up in the slide. Okay. So we have can't fix it. I'll later on fix it and send you the fixed one. So there's this maslakh, and then there is this ghamra, and then there's this dat irq. So maslakh is the beginning of the valley, ghamra is the middle, and dat irq is the end of the valley. So maslakh, ghamra, dat irq. Dat irq is the last stage. I mean where the valley ends. So after that you exit the valley. So maslakh, ghamra, dat irq. So he says that وهذا الميقات, and this miqat له أجزاء ثلاثة, has three parts. المسلخ وهو اسم لأوله, and that is the name for the beginning of the valley. والغمرة وهو اسم لوسطه, and it is the name for the middle of the valley. وذات عرق وهو اسم لآخره, and ذات عرق, it is the name of the end of the valley. Yes. والأحوط الأولى أن يحرم المكلف قبل أن يصل إلى ذات العرق. So you know, المسلخ غمرة ذات عرق. So don't let yourself come to that عرق and you still have not entered the state of ihram. So many scholars, they understood from the riwayat that you need to be in the state of ihram. Once you arrive here, finish. So say this Sistani Damadullah, he chooses recommended precaution. So you entered. Now you can enter the state of ihram there in maslakh, or you can enter ghamra, and you can enter also in that irq, the end. But he says recommended precaution before you reach that irq, which is after that you're going to exit the valley, be in the state of ihram. Don't wait until that irq. It's a recommended precaution. Well, ahwat al-awla, and on the basis of recommended precaution, أن يحرم المكلف قبل أن يصل ذات عرق, before he reaches that عرق, enter the state of ihram. فيما إذا لم تمنعه عن ذلك تقية أو مرض, as long as there was no prohibitions prohibited him from entering the state of ihram due to taqiyya or sickness. So why? Let's say he was here in the maslakh, okay? Let's say there were some Muslims living there. Once you enter the state of ihram from maslakh, oh, these are Shias, okay? Then you might be subjected to being hurt, insulted, humiliated, disrespected. So in this case, the way Ammar ibn Yasir did taqiyya, okay, and taqiyya is there in the Quran, it's there. So you are also going to do taqiyya. You are going to do taqiyya. So you don't enter the state of ihram there in the in maslakh, and you're not able to be in ghamra, that irq, because majority of the Muslims, they enter the state of ihram when they're coming from that route, that irq. School of Ahl al-Bayt, they give the permissibility for the whole valley, not the end of the valley. So many madhahib, they only allow you to enter the end of the valley. Though many school of companions, ulamas, they allow you, as long as it's the valley, because the Prophet ﷺ, it's based on the narration of the Prophet ﷺ, narrated in the school of companion and school of Ahl al-Bayt. So they don't have any problem. But due to a certain time, it seems that there were people living there, they would not enter the state of ihram from some other school of thought. They would not enter from al-maslakh, neither from al-ghamra. They would enter from that irq. So what happens? The school of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, they allowed, but in case if you have a fear that you might be tortured or insulted or humiliated, then you can delay your ihram until that irq. Until that irq. So that's why I said taqiyatan. Seems that the narrations, they indicate that that time there were some people living there whom they were not entering the state of ihram from al-maslakh and al-ghamra. They would enter the state of ihram from that irq. So if a follower of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi will enter the state of ihram, obviously will be wearing white clothes and attire. So they will, this is the guy, okay? And they might torture, humiliate, insult him. So that's why the Sharia told him, you don't have to worry about that. You can delay your ihram. You don't have to enter the state of ihram all the way there. So he says that وَالْأَحْوَطِ الْأَوْلَى, and based on the recommended precaution, أن لا يحرم المكلف قبل أن يصل ذات عرق. He should not enter the state of ihram on the basis of a recommended precaution before reaching وَالْأَحْوَطِ الْأَوْلَى, it is recommended precaution to enter the state of ihram before reaching that irq. أن يحرم المكلف قبل أن يصل إلى ذات عرق. Don't delay your ihram unless if there was sickness or there was تقية. فيما إذا لم تمنعه عن ذلك تقية أو مرض. As long as there was no prevention for him to enter the state of ihram. What are the preventions, for example, such as sickness? To be in a state of ihram for longer period, for sick person, it's a bit cause of difficulty and hardship. Or taqiyya purpose, then you can delay your ihram. That's recommended precaution, as we said. So, ruling number 163. قال بعض الفقهاء, some of the scholars, they said, بجواز الإحرام في حال التقية قبل ذات عرق سرا, before ذات عرق, secretly. How secretly? Secretly, you say your niyyah, say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, khalas. Don't change your clothes now, because if you change your clothes now, oh, that's Shia guy, okay? They might cause you problem or trouble. This was before in some certain times of our history. There was this, because as I said, that irq, everybody agrees. Before that, some Sunni scholars agree, some Sunni scholars do not agree to enter the state of ihram. So there was a time where there were people of another school living there, and they would not enter a state of ihram before that irq. So anyone who would enter before that irq, they would know, oh, this guy is Shia guy, for example. Okay. So what should you do in taqiyya? He says, enter the ihram secretly. How? Make an intention. Say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, not with voice. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Khalas, you entered. You don't have to say loudly labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Okay? So therefore, he says enter secretly, and once you reach that irq, you remove your clothing and wear your ihram, a dress of ihram. So see here also, you have already entered the state of ihram. So entering the state of ihram is an obligation, and wearing the two dress of ihram is an independent obligation. So let's say if you don't wear the dress of ihram as a man, your ihram will be invalid? No, your ihram will not be invalid, but you will have a penalty. So your wearing and not wearing does not affect your ihram. That's again, I want to point out the errors in the translation of Manasik al-Hajj in the websites of the wherever the book of law of Sayyid Sistani and other Maraja are translated in English. It's wrong translation. It's not wearing ihram, it's entering the state of ihram or becoming muhrim. Just make that observation. So قبل ذات عرق سرا من غير نزع الثياب, without removal of the clothes, إلى ذات عرق, until that عرق. فإذا وصل ذات عرق, and if he reaches that عرق, نزع ثيابه ولبس ثوبين الإحرام هناك ولا كفار عليه. He would remove his stitched clothes, normal clothes, but he's in the state of ihram, yes, but we gave him permission due to the taqiyya reasons to delay the removal of the clothing to that irq. So he came to that irq. He removed his stitched clothing and all the clothing, and then he wore the dress of ihram, both dress of ihram. Then there is no penalty on him because he was in the state of ihram and he was wearing stitched clothes. There's no problem. This exemption has come to us from our Aimma alayhi salam due to the taqiyya. من غير نزع الثياب إلى ذات عرق فإذا وصل ذات عرق, if he arrives that عرق, نزع ثيابه, he will remove his clothing, ولبس ثوبي الإحرام هناك, and he will wear the dress of ihram there. So he's already in the state of ihram, but he needs to change, and he changes his ihram dress in that irq. ولا كفارة عليه, and there would be no penalty upon him. هذا القول لا يخلو عن إشكال. Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah says, I have a problem with this, to enter the state of ihram without replacing the cloth and then continue and then remove the cloth, take off your clothes, normal clothes in that irq and enter the state of ihram. He says, I have a problem here. لا يخلو عن إشكال. So therefore, if you enter the state of ihram, change your dress. And nowadays, other people, they also do it. So it's not like only Shias, they enter the state of ihram before. There are many other Sunni followers of school of thought, school of companion. They also remove their ihram. So it's not only a Shia thing. It is a general thing where you might not need to do taqiyya there in that case, because if everybody or many of them are wearing like the way you are wearing and they are doing their intention there, then khalas, then why are you worried about? Just be normal, do your labbaik, do your intention and labbaik, and enter the state of ihram. There's no kafara, but he says that I have a problem with this. That means obligatory precaution. One should avoid not taking off his dress before reaching that irq. Then the MEQAAT Juhfa. Juhfa is a MEQAAT for people of Sham, Syria. This is Medina, this is Juhfa. So if you draw a straight line from Juhfa to the top, you'll come to Palestine, Jordan, and Syria, and all those places which are north of Saudi Arabia. Egypt as well. People of Egypt, people of Africa, they come from Juhfa. Okay, when the boats, they come, those days, the boats, they used to come. Even aeroplane, it passes by Juhfa and lands in Jeddah. بل كل من يمر عليها. Not only people of Sham, Syria, not people of Egypt, not people of Morocco. That means not people of the Middle East, what they say, the Syria, Jordan, and this region, and not only the African. Anyone passing through Juhfa, okay, must enter the state of ihram in Juhfa. وكل من يمر عليها حتى من مر بذي الحليفة. Even those people who came from Medina, from Dhil Halifa, but due to circumstances, they had not entered the state of ihram. We'll tell them, once you arrive Juhfa, khalas, this is your final stage. Enter the state of ihram from here. Because he had not entered the state of ihram. Where? وَلَمْ يَحْرُمْ مِنْهَا لِعُذْرٍ أَوْ دُونِهِ عَلَى الْأَظْهَرِ. So whether there was an excuse for him not to enter the state of ihram in Dhil Halifa, or there was no excuse for him preventing him from entering the state of ihram in Dhil Halifa. Whether you have an excuse, you don't have an excuse, finish. You should do ihram where? From Juhfa, most apparently, ala al-Adhar. So we understand that if there was udhr, there was an excuse, okay, you did not enter the state of ihram, there was an excuse, understood. You can enter the state of ihram from Juhfa. But here, Sayyidi Sita says, more apparent to me, even if somebody did not have an excuse, even if someone did not have an excuse, okay, and he did not enter the state of ihram from Masjid al-Shajara, so that's fine. He can enter the state of ihram here. Perhaps he might be a sinner because he left where he was supposed to do the MEQAAT just to go to that next MEQAAT. This is one without excuse. But with excuse, there is no sin there. With excuse, you are not able to enter the state of ihram in Masjid al-Shajara. Just come to Juhfa, enter the state of ihram. But what if somebody did not have excuse? He says, أو من دونه على الأظهر. Even if somebody did not have any excuse, he can enter the state of ihram from the next MEQAAT. Then number 4, MEQAAT number 4 is Yalamlam. And this is a MEQAAT of people of Yemen. Everyone who passes by Yemen and comes through that route of Yemen, then he must enter the state of Ihram in Yalamlam. Yalamlam is a name of a mountain. Yalamlam is a name of a mountain. There's a poet in Sheikh Hassan al-Damastani's poetry. He says that the pain of Imam Hussein in my heart. Sheikh Hassan al-Damastani is a big, very famous poetry. Our Gulf country, Gulf people, they love this poetry so much. They make latmiya out of it, which is Ahram al-Hujjaju. Ahram al-Hujjaju an laddatihim. So the Hujjaj, people going to Hajj, they enter the state of Ihram, they leave the dunya, okay, for certain days. He says, for me, I've entered that state of abandoning from dunya totally my entire life because of the grief I have for my Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So he says, هي قرحة, it's a pain. لو أنها بيلملم, this is our shahid. That pain, that severe pain of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu, sadness and his tragedy, so severe pain in my heart. If this pain falls on Yalamlam, Yalamlam will be destroyed. لساخت يلملم جوانبه هي قرحة لو أنها بيلملم لساخت يلملم جوانبه. This qurha, if it was on Yalamlam, Yalamlam would, like, from the sides, it will, not the top only, the whole thing, the sides, when the sides they collapse, everything gets collapsed. That much qurha, that much pain I have of grief on Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. So that was Yalamlam, MEQAAT of people of Yemen. Then we have number 5, Qarn al-Manazil. Qarn al-Manazil وهو ميقات أهل الطائف. From east of Mecca, there is Ta'if. وكل من يمر من ذلك الطريق. Everyone passes by that route of Yalamlam, that is their MEQAAT. So people coming from Gulf, Dubai, Doha, Emirates, Oman, everybody coming from east side, they pass by Ta'if, and around Ta'if there is this Qarn al-Manazil, and وَكُلُّ مَنْ يَمُرُّ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, for people of Ta'if and anyone who passes by Ta'if. وَلَا يَخْتَصُّ الْمِيقَاتِ في هذه الأربعة الأخيرة بالمساجد الموجودة, except for Masjid al-Shajara. These are places, so you can enter the state of Ihram from any place in this place, any spot. You don't have to go inside the masjid which is located there. Only Masjid al-Shajara, Medina, Dhul Halifa. That because it is understood from the narrations that the entering of the state of Ihram should be from inside the masjid. But Qarn al-Manazil, Yalamlam, Juhfa, Wadi Aqiq, all these are, you don't have to enter the state of Ihram from the masjid, as long as the place is called the name which was designated by the Prophet ﷺ entirely, the village or the place itself. So he says, وَلَا يَخْتَصُّ الْمِيقَاتِ في هذه الأربعة الأخيرة بالمساجد الموجودة فيها. It is not the miqat is not specifically in the masjids which are available in these villages. What does that mean? That means the miqat can be out of this masjid. Okay. More than that, any place which is the title of that place, Qarn al-Manazil, Juhfa, Yalamlam, anything which is called, this is Yalamlam area, khalas. Anywhere in the limits of Yalamlam, you don't have to do it from the Masjid of Yalamlam, or Masjid of Juhfa, or Masjid of Dat Irq, or Masjid of Qarn al-Manazil. You don't have to enter the state of Ihram specifically from the Masjid. So وَلَا يَخْتَصُّ, the entering the state of Ihram is not specifically done, it's not to be done specifically in the masjid for these 4 places. What are these 4 places? قرن المنازل, جحفة, ذات عرق, and يلملم. These 4 places which were mentioned now, you don't have to, it's not, the ihram is not necessary to be done specifically in the masjid الموجودة فيها, the masajid which are in these villages. بل كل مكان يصدق عليه أنه العقيق أو الجحفة أو يلملم أو قرن منازل يجوز الإحرام منه. More even, any place in these places which is considered al-aqiq or considered al-juhfa or considered yalamlam or considered al-manazil, common consideration, they say this is yalamlam, this is khalas, you can enter the state of ihram from it. وَإِذَا لَمْ يَتَمَكَّنِ الْمُكَلَّفِ مِنْ إِحْرَازِ ذَلِكَ فَلَهُ أَنْ يَتَخَلَّص بِالْإِحْرَامِ نَذْرًا قبل ذلك كما هو جائز اختيارا. If a person is not able to enter the state of ihram from these places, okay, from Yalamlam, from Juhfa, إذا لم يتمكن المكلف, or why? Because he's not sure. This is like many times people, they travel individually and they get these taxi drivers who are ignorant about the locations of these things, and they are not aware where exactly Yalamlam area is, where exactly. So they arrive someplace which is called Yalamlam, but they're not sure that this is Yalamlam or not. So in that case, enter the state of ihram via nadhr before arriving this spot, ihtiyatan, as a precautionary measure. So he says, يجوز الإحرام وإذا لم يتمكن المكلف من إحراز ذلك فلو يتخلص بالإحرام نذرا قبل ذلك كما هو جائز اختيارا. If a responsible person is not able to pinpoint the miqat, then it is permissible for him to enter the state of ihram and get rid of this doubt, okay, by entering the state of ihram via nadhr, vow, lillahi alayya, I'm making upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an obligation upon myself that I will enter the state of ihram from here. And now, for example, labbaik Allah, then he said, mention the niyyah and labbaik. So by nadhr, remember, whenever you have doubt, just before you arrive that doubtful place, make a nadhr and enter the state of ihram through nadhr. He says, قبل ذلك كما هو جائز اختيار. I mean, even if you did not have any compulsory or any compulsion preventing you from entering the state of ihram, you can enter the state of ihram anytime before arriving the miqat with the nadhr, before arriving the miqat. And especially if you don't know, like some of the miqats, our ulamas, they have debate, especially like qarn al-manazil. Qarn al-manazil, is it like qarn al-manazil, or is like Wadi Sail or Sail al-Kabir? Some say Sail al-Kabir is qarn al-manazil. Some say Sail al-Kabir is not qarn al-manazil. Some said that no, the whole area is called qarn al-manazil, and among the qarn al-manazil is Sail al-Kabir, so you can enter the state of ihram. So to get rid of this doubt, when you arrive at Sail al-Kabir, just make a nadhr that I'm going to enter the state of ihram from here and now, for Hajj al-Tamattu or for Umrah al-Tamattu or for Umrah al-Mufrada, for anything, make this intention in your heart that I'm going to enter make your nadhr from your heart, and then make the intention of performing these rituals. Yeah. So he says that if a mukallaf, if the responsible person, وَإِذَا لَمْ يَتَمَكَّنِ الْمُكَلَّفِ مِنْ إِحْرَازِ ذَلِكَ فَلَهُ أَنْ يَتَخَلَّص بِالْإِحْرَامِ نَذْرًا قَبْلَ ذَلِكَ كَمَا هُوَ جَائِزٌ بِاخْتِيارٍ. So he can get rid of his doubt by entering the state of ihram through nadhr before that doubtful spot. كما هو جائز اختيارا, as it is permissible optionally to enter the state of ihram before the miqat with nadhr. So before the miqat with nadhr, you can enter the state of ihram. It's your option. Or you wait until you reach the miqat. Then finally, number 6, and tomorrow we'll continue, inshallah. I spoke before in our previous session, محاذاة أحد المواقيت, محاذاة أحد المواقيت المتقدمة, parallel miqat, parallel point. So one of the rules of miqat are applicable on what? On a parallel miqat to one of the miqats which has been mentioned previously. فإن من سلك طريقا لا يمر بشيء من المواقيت السابقة. If someone goes to Makkah and does not pass through any of the miqat which is mentioned previously, like Qarn al-Manazil, Dhat Irq, Masjid al-Halifa, that means Masjid al-Shadra, and then you have Juhfa, and then Yalamlam. If you are not passing by any of these miqat, then try to find out a parallel point to the miqat. Then from there you can enter the state of ihram. You don't have to do nadhr as well. So what is this? المكان الذي استقبل فيه القبلة المعظمة يكون الميقات على يمينه أو شماله. So the miqat, this parallel point of miqat, we explained in our previous session, is the place where if he faces the Kaaba, it would be either on the left side or the right side, the miqat. That means his position either on facing the Kaaba, either on the right side or the left side, okay, there is a miqat, there or there. So that means 90 degrees. 90 degrees. يحاذي أحدها أحرم من ذلك الموضع. خلاص, from the parallel point you can enter the state of ihram. والمراد بمحاذي الميقات, and what we mean by, or what is meant by the parallel point of the miqat, المكان الذي إذا استقبل فيه الكعبة المعظمة, which is a place if the great Kaaba was faced, you face the great Kaaba, يكون الميقات على يمينه أو شماله. The miqat will be one of those designated miqat, would be on right or on left. That means forming 90 degrees. Like I mentioned yesterday, Masjid al-Shadra and Kaaba is this side. So this would be the parallel point of miqat, parallel to Masjid al-Shadra, because Kaaba is straightforward like this. So this point, you don't have to have nadhr. You can just enter the state of ihram because you did not pass through one of the miqats, and you had this. You did not pass through any of the miqats, and you had this parallel point on your way. So just enter the state of ihram from that parallel point. If you cannot, then enter the state of ihram before that doubtful miqat location through nadhr. So he says, yeah, ولو جاوزه كان ذلك يكفي في ذلك الصدق العرفي. Do I have to bring the Google coordinates like pinpoint, micro, milli, degrees, small and big and all those kind of things? He said, no, that's not needed. The commonly consideration is that you're facing the Kaaba and your right and your left is parallel to the miqat, one of the muwaqit. So he says, والمراد بالمحاذي, we mentioned, ويكفي في ذلك الصدق العرفي, the common consideration. ولا يعتبر التدقيق العقلي. Intellectual accuracy is not required here. Okay? وإذا كان الشخص يمر في طريقه بموضعين يحاذي منهما ميقاتا والآخر فالأحوط الأولى اختيار الإحرام عند محاذاة أولها. So he says here, وإذا كان الشخص يمر في طريقه بموضعين يحاذي كل منهما ميقاتا. Okay, so I'm going to pass, like for example, I'm coming from Masjid al-Shajara or from wherever. So I came to one MEQAAT, one parallel point to the MEQAAT. And then I went to the next parallel point to the MEQAAT. So what should I do? Should I do the talbiyah 3 times? Once I did. Now labbaik Allahumma labbaik for passing the first point. So when should I enter the state of ihram? So he says, وإذا كان الشخص يمر في طريقه بموضعين يحاذي كل منهما ميقاتا. Both of them, they're both spots. He's going to pass through these 2 locations. They both are parallel point to the miqat. What should he do? فالأحوط الأولى, it's recommended precaution, اختيار الإحرام عند محاذاة أولها. As a recommended precaution, choose the one who's the first of the parallel points. First of the parallel points. Okay? Don't wait until the next. Just there are 2 parallel points. One is very close to Makkah and one is a bit further Makkah. So he says that choose the area which is the first parallel point. Don't wait until the second parallel point. ويكفي ذلك الصدق العرفي ولا يعتبر التدقيق العقلي. The intellectual accuracy is not required. The common consideration is sufficient. So you don't have to bring the engineering equipments and micromilli and all those kind of things. وإذا كان الشخص يمر في طريقه بموضعين يحاذي كل منهما ميقاتا فالأحوط الأولى اختيار الإحرام عند محاذاة أولها. So the parallel point to the first parallel point to enter the state of Ihram from the first parallel point. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.